Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and if you are brand new here, welcome. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today we're going to continue looking at my deck collection. And I've pulled some decks that are from Miscellaneous, smaller deck publishing companies, and it's all miscellaneous. So these are my miscellaneous mass market oracle decks. So the first one is the Amenti Oracle by Jennifer Sedini and Natalie Miller. This is the Amenti Oracle Feather Heart Deck and Guidebook, Ancient Wisdom for the Modern World. I haven't had this deck in my collection very long. And I haven't done an unboxing with it because I picked it up at my local Half Price Books used store, and so it wasn't really like an unboxing. I know this deck has been out for a little bit, and you can see this is by Hatchet Book Group, so I don't know, I don't think I have another deck published by them. You see it comes in this beautiful box. This is felt lined, and the deck comes in a tuck box as well. So I've taken the cards out of this so you don't have to see me struggle with the tuck box. But here is the deck. Look at the beautiful artwork in this deck. This is more of an affirmation deck. As you can see, modern artwork. And you can see I respect the property of others. Yeah, I've had it for maybe, I want to say a couple of weeks. So I haven't really delved into the book. I affirm that all life is sacred. And just looking at this, you know, with the affirmations, really good card of the day, affirmation deck, put on your altar or mantle. I regard all altars with respect. I really, really love the artwork in this deck. And you know, if you've been with me for a while, you see that I love a lot of older art, Edwardian, Victorian, even older than that. And I tend to go for those decks right away. Older art, you know, in a collage setting, but I really do appreciate modern art and modern illustrations in tarot and oracle as well. I love the cardstock of this. It's super, super matte, and it feels on par with some, close to some indie decks, I would say. There's no gilding or anything, but I'm really happy with it. Very sturdy. You see how beautiful this deck is. And I don't think, it feels like the deck in the book has not been used. There's no creases. And yeah, I found it in the tarot cabinet of one of my local half-price books. But I have not worked with it, so I can't really tell you what the experience is like, other than I'm really digging the art. And just a quick look at the book. Yeah, it hasn't even been creased. So I think somebody got it and didn't use it, but there are spreads. The paper is nice and thick. And she lists the cards, and look what you get. A full color picture of the art. And a lot of information with it. Oh, well, I guess not every card has full depiction of the art. There's some quotes throughout. You get a lot of information. There's just a spread here and there, I guess, the artwork. Yeah, I haven't really had time to delve in with it, but I am very excited. The art is just wonderful. I really, really like it. All right, so that is the Amenti Oracle. Let me know in the comments if you have this deck and what your experience working with this deck has been. Do you use it as an oracle in conjunction with your tarot? Do you use it strictly for, you know, placement cards on your altar? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear. Next up, we have Astrology Reading Cards, Your Personal Guidance from the Star by Alison Chester Lambert, author of Future in the Stars, and the illustrations are by Richard Crooks. This is by Findhorn Press. Again, I don't think I have another deck by them. Nice magnetic closure box. Beautiful box. And this deck, I don't believe I have a full unboxing of it because I believe I got this deck before I had a channel. And I've meant, this is one of the decks I've got to work on my astrology. And that was one of the goals I had for 2020, and it's kind of, you know, I have dabbled in it, but I still haven't totally immersed myself in astrology, and this is a goal that's going to carry over for 2021. Cards are very flimsy. They're glossy and very, very flimsy, like there's no core in them. And these are the backs. I wish it didn't have that because the backs are kind of cool. But I think this is more of an educational deck and not, you know, something you would use in a reading at all. It's something I plan to use mainly for education. The book looks really good. Something to dip your toes in if you want to learn astrology or just to get the very, very basics. That's what I know. I think this has some information that I don't know, you know, getting into the houses and such. The photography, you know, it's digital art. It's not even the best digital art, but I am keeping this deck around for a while until I've had, there's my card, a chance to work with it. And I would like to know, do you have this deck? Have you worked with it? Has it left your collection? Oh, just a quick look at the book. It does have a full color picture of the card. And you do get a good amount of information, so that's why I'm keeping it around until I have a chance to work with it in earnest. And then I could see this as a deck that will someday probably leave my collection. So that is the Astrology Reading Cards deck. Next up, we have the Lunar Nomad Oracle by Shaheen Miro. This is basically a very large Lenormand deck. Very large, and I was debating whether or not to put it in my Lenormand collection, but it is very large, and it does kind of, there's some extra cards in it, so I just decided to keep it. I put it in this category. It's by Wiser Books, and there are 43 cards in this, and it's a sleeve box. I do have a full unboxing and flip through of this deck. I love collage work. I do also have Shaheen Miro's Uncommon Tarot. I have a full unboxing of that on my channel as well. But you can see the cards. There's a depiction of the cards. He has extra cards for the man and the woman. Black and white picture. Lots of good content in that book. And this comes, the cards, you see how large they are for Lenormand. My hand is completely covered by this box. The box is beautiful, but it is a tuck box, and I don't care how beautiful the tuck box is, it is still a tuck box, and you still have to fiddle with it, and they don't, you know, depending on how much you use the deck and get it in and out, they don't stand the test of time. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Beautiful collage work. I am working with his Uncommon Tarot right now, and I'm enjoying it very much. I always love music in the background, sheet music for the paper. But this cardstock is very, very, very flimsy. No core whatsoever. Kind of like, very similar to the astrology reading cards we just saw, but without the gloss. This is matte, so which is good. I love the backs. So that's kind of a disappointment. I'm keeping this deck. I mean, you can't really do a grand tableau with this deck. It is too large. But you can do 3 cards, and maybe I would do a 9 card, up to a 9 card. But it is, it's just so large. You would really need a large table. But I'm keeping it because I love the illustrations so much. And I haven't worked with the book, and I know there's a lot. I love Shaheen's writing. So I want to go through the book, and I think it's something I'll keep for that. It would make good altar cards. I love his collage work, and I think it's stunning. Very, very stunning. Yeah, I was wondering, I think there were some musings on when I was doing my unboxing video, if I would keep this around, but I think I am, because I find the artwork stunning. I would only get rid of it if I ran out of room and had no place to put it. If I was getting too many decks, I think it's lovely. I think the work is beautiful. Disappointed in the cardstock and that they are so large, you know, to keep them from being really, really useful as a Lenormand deck. And they call it an Oracle deck, which is very misleading. Well, Lenormand is Oracle, but, you know, a Lenormand deck usually says it's a Lenormand deck. All right, so that's the Lunar Nomad Oracle by Shaheen Miro. Next up, we have the Affirmators Love and Relationship Oracle deck. This is affirmation cards. Very popular. Many people are familiar with this. I got this at my local Barnes and Noble with a coupon, and it was on sale. And then with the coupon, I believe it was $7 and some change, which is just an outstanding deal. Those are the backs. There are several decks in this series by affirmators, but it's, you know, you've got some affirmations, cute illustrations. These are good altar cards, a card of the day, maybe a good, you can pull a card at the beginning or the end of a reading, a tarot reading. Super fun deck. I haven't used it a lot though, but I'm glad it's in my collection. I know my niece likes it. I just kind of flipped through it for her over the phone, and she quite liked it. So I don't know if I ever get rid of it. It's something I may pass off to her, but I need to work with it more. And it's just, you know, I look for all kinds of decks. I want to have a diverse collection, and to be able to pull decks that fit my mood, fit where I am, and also the few people I read for. I do not read professionally, so I read for friends, my son, my niece, some of my son's friends, his college friends, and some beautiful people I've met on Instagram. So yeah, I just feel I'm still honing my skills, but so far so good. So yes, it's something nice to have in your collection. I'm trying to hone my collection so that I have a wide variety of decks, good for any circumstance and for any mood. This is the Yogic Path Oracle by Sahara Rose. It is the deck with artwork by Danielle Noel. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful deck. I've kept the sleeve on it. And it comes with a book. I can't remember. This is by Alpha, which is a portion of DK.com, is the publisher. And you see, this is kind of like the Hay House Shaman, the Mystical Shaman Oracle, the way they put it in a separate box. I like that the box is a two-piece box. And I have had this deck for a while, since it came out. Look at the beautiful backs. Beautiful backs. And I am ashamed to say that I have not worked with it in depth yet. So I cannot tell you how it reads as an oracle. And I've had it for a while. But I will tell you that I recently obtained and filmed an unboxing of the journal that goes with this deck. So I am going to be working with this deck this year with the corresponding journal. And I think that will force me to work with it. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that, you know, other things come into the pipeline and sometimes the best laid plans. The artwork is beautiful. It's, of course it's beautiful. It's by Danielle Noel. Beautiful cardstock. It's along the lines of her other decks by Hay House, you know, the Starseed Oracle, the Work Your Light deck. It's very indie feeling, except it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have gilding, but there is some gold foil stamping on the back, which just, you know, brings us up towards indie level quality and production with the box and everything. It is beautiful. So this is a deck I intend to work with in 2021, and with the corresponding journal. I'll have to put that video up so you all can see that. So that is the Yogic Path Oracle by Sahara Rose and Danielle Noel. Last but not least is the Arcana of Astrology by Claire Goodchild. This is published by Abrams Notary. The only other deck I have by them is her Antique Anatomy Tarot deck. And I have a full unboxing of this on my channel. But this is the same production value pretty much as her Antique Anatomy, though better cardstock. It does have new, improved cardstock from her original Antique Anatomy. Can't get all the cards out. That's okay. So they did upgrade the card quality for the newer Antique Anatomy printings to this cardstock. And I have a video regarding that on my channel. But these are the wonderful backs. This is the mass market version of her, is it her Compendium of Constellations deck? I think that's what it's called, her indie version, which I would still like to get. I think it's still available. But this is the her astrology mass market offering. And again, I haven't worked with it yet. I've had it for a little bit, but I'm always trying to hone my tarot and my Lenormand, and those right now have taken precedence. And like I said, it has been my goal to work on my astrology. I planned for that in this year, 2020, and sadly, I have not done it. I have accomplished other goals. I have definitely established a journaling practice. So astrology is definitely #1 for 2021. And I have some other goals. I'm going to do a video at some point. Once I finish all my videos with my collection, you know, as my collection stands for 2020. And this deck, yeah, I like the cardstock. It's decent. It's matte. It has a little bit more of a core. It's not super thick. It's not as good as US Games cardstock, but it's definitely a step up from the original Antique Anatomy. And the book is pretty much along the lines of her Antique Anatomy book. You get a nice, beautiful picture, lots of good information. This is a deck I could see myself keeping, whereas the astrology reading cards deck is one that I'm definitely going to let go in the future. I can see myself letting go, gifting or giving. But this one is definitely, because it's by Claire Goodchild, and I love everything she does, this one will always stay in my collection. So that is the Arcana of Astrology by Claire Goodchild. So that is the end of my video showing you my miscellaneous oracle decks from miscellaneous smaller publishers for 2020. Let me know in the comments what you think of any of these decks, your experiences working with them, if any of these are on your wish list, if any of these you've gotten rid of because you just can't work with them. Like, I'm interested especially how you use the yogic path, the Amenti Oracle. Let me know in the comments. I would sure love to hear from you. And with that, I will leave you until my next video. Bye for now.